Hey guys!
And gals!
Today we will have a look at the new module from the Vult Mysteries collection, Lapsus, which is a very interesting little rhythm generator. So we have the length control, which goes from 1 step up to 64 steps, and we actually have 2 channels that we can use, and for each channel we can change the number of pulses or hits that will be on each channel. So you can see it changing here, which is quite nice. So let's start adding some voices. We will use tangents, again Vult, and what we will do, we will bring it to self oscillation by taking the resonance all the way up, and we will use hot tuna from Nischi to tune it to C5. So it should be somewhere here. Let's see, DC5, very nice. Let's take the resonance again down. Now what we'll do, we will ping this filter, which will create a hopefully nice percussive sound. So let's clock Lapsus every clock multiplied by 4 and send also the reset to Lapsus or Lapsus. Let's send a sequence of 9 steps, something like this, and let's have 4 pulses on the first channel and take this back to 5. Very nice. Now let's send this to the bandpass, the first output to the bandpass input of tangents, and let's have a listen to this. So we have the pulse coming out to the mixer, nothing special, but what we'll do now, we will bring the resonance back up, but only just before it starts to self-oscillate. Just before. So this is too much already, but somewhere here. And this is called pinging a filter. But as you can hear, we have for each pulse 2 hits, and that's because the pulse width of the clock is too wide, so we get the onset and the release. So what we will do, we want more of a trigger than a gate, so let's change the pulse width on the clock itself, on the multiplied by 4, wherever the pulse width control. Let's take it all the way down. Oh yeah. So now we have a sort of a trigger, and we already get the rhythm. Very nice. Now let's add some delay with Chronoblob 2. So let's send this to Chronoblob, sync Chronoblob with the clock, change the time modulation mode, and let's take this to the mixer. Oh yeah. Change maybe the time to the right channel. Yes. Take the wet a bit down so we have more movement. Very nice. Very cool. Okay, we will of course add some reverb. I have here some send reverb. This is a nice sound. Okay, so we have the first voice. Let's add another one. We will use Blick again, Vult, and we will use Spank, also Vult. Let's send Blick through Spank to the mixer, and now we will use the second output. Again, it has 5 steps or 5 hits in a 9-step sequence actually. So this will trigger Spank. Let's change the envelope to hard so it's snappier, and let's take the wave all the way to the right so it's sort of a sine wave, so it's a bit more mellow. Maybe take it also an octave up. Very nice. Now let's again add some delay and reverb. I will just duplicate the Chronoblob, sync it again with our clock, send this to the mixer, and again add some reverb. Oh yeah. Very nice. And let's really modulate this, the wave, and maybe also the decay of Spank. And we will use leakage, again, Vult, which is, in this case, we will use it as a sample and hold module. I will just use the same multiplied by 4 clock to trigger it. and then send it once to the decay and once to the wave. and let's open the attenuators a bit. So we have more movement. Very nice, very nice. Okay, now a really cool feature on Lapsus is the flex, which will morph and twist the rhythms and turn them into something different. Let me show you this. Let me just bypass the delay so it's easier to listen to. And now I will change the flex and listen how the rhythm changes. Very nice. So this we will now modulate or automate, and we will use two ADDR sequencers from Bog Audio. 1, 2, let's set them to -5 volt. Very nice. Randomize them 1 and 2. Change the length. Let's set here, let's say 3 steps, and here 5. Now we will drive them with a divided clock, every clock divided by 8, and also reset everything so it sits nice together. Very nice. Now we will use them to modulate the flex. And what we have here, we have two mod inputs, CV inputs that we can assign to different things on Lapsus. So let's send them to the mod inputs. And now by clicking the button of the respective channel, I can assign, let's say I will move the flex, and now you can see it's assigned to the flex. I will do this for the second channel as well, and now we can open the attenuators, and now we'll have some change in the rhythm. Let's listen to this a bit. Oh yeah. Now we also have the XOR output on Lapsus, which will output a trigger whenever the first channel or the second channel are high, not when both of them are high, only when one or the other. So we can use this to add another voice. Let's use NOK. Again, Vult from the Compacts collection, really nice module. Let's trigger it with the XOR output and have a listen. Oh yeah. Let's take the noise down, the depth of the noise. Also less decay. Very nice, and we can modulate now the Fury function. Oh yeah. To add some movement, so let's use the AD envelope from Nisti, which will look like this. And to trigger it, we will use another logic function or logic gate. So let's use bool from Bog Audio, which is a Boolean logic module. And what we will do, we will use both sequences, and in this case I will use the AND output, which will output a trigger only when both sequences are on or high at the same time, unlike the XOR that would output a trigger only when one of them was high. In this case, only when both of them are high at the same time, it will output a trigger. So let's use this to trigger the envelope. And let's send this to the Fury CV input of NOK and open the attenuator. Let's solo this so we can have a listen. Maybe a bit more decay. Oh yeah. So you can listen to the movement, we get just a bit more interest in the sound. Very nice. Okay, now let's add something more melodic. I will just duplicate the Lapsus we have already set, or use the clock and reset everything. Very cool. Now let's in this case set a longer sequence. Let's go to, let's say, 55. Very nice, but on the first sequence we will have only 3 steps, or 3 hits, actually not steps. We have 55 steps, but only 3 hits or triggers inside of this sequence. And the second channel will have only 2 hits. Very nice. Now, as our sequencer, let's go with a grid sequencer from JW. We will use one sequence to drive it forward and the other sequence or the other channel to drive it downward. Let's randomize the notes and take the range a bit down. Very nice. And for our voice, we will use Noxious, which is again Vult, amazing modules. We will use also Slap, just to make it nice and percussive. Let's send Noxious to Slap and to the mixer. Very nice. Now we will use the XOR output in this case to trigger Slap. So when one or the other are high, again we will get a trigger and we can already hear it. Let's change the envelope a bit. Let's say take the sustain down and take it maybe an octave or 2 up. Let's use also the pitch information. Oh yeah. Very nice. Now let's use the same XOR output to trigger the chaos function of Noxious. So with each trigger we will get a variation in the sound. So let's take the spread up and the settle, the time it will take Noxious to go back to those settings we have now. Let's take the harmonics down so it's a bit more mellow. Add some reverb. Oh yeah. And let's add more interest to the sound with using, oh man, Rescomb 2, again Vult, which is a comb filter, which is actually a delay. We will add some weird delays, so let's send this to Rescomb 2 and from there to the mixer. Take the frequency all the way down, add feedback. Oh yeah. Let's use the pitch information to modulate the frequency. We can do this in this case through the volt per octave or CV, it doesn't matter, because we are not doing this actually for pitch, just for modulation. Oh yeah. One more time. Very nice. Let's add even more delay with Chronoblob, another Chronoblob, why not? Change maybe the delay times. Take it down a notch. Oh yeah. Okay, another really interesting feature on Lapsus is the cross here, which will add probability to the two channels cross affecting one another and again create more variations. So let's modulate also this. On Rescomb we have an LFO output that we can use. Let's change this to chaos so it's nice and random, and the LFO will go to the mode 1, let's say, and again I will click the button and assign the cross, as you can see here. Let's turn the attenuator on the second, on the different direction, and take the rate maybe a bit down so it's not so quick. So we'll have a bit variation in the sequence, maybe, hopefully. Oh yeah. Let's add another voice just for fun, and I will use Vesek, again Vult, and I will use an ADDR sequencer to create a change in pitch. Let's change this to 0 to 1 volt, randomize it, and let's go. Let's stay with 6, that's okay. Now let's run this with a divided clock, the clock divided by 8. Very nice, and we'll use also a quantizer, and in this case I will use the quantizer from JW. Again, C minor, that's what we have, that's okay. Send the signal to Vesek through the quantizer, of course. Let's take Vesek also a few octaves up, let's take it all the way up actually. And detune them a bit, the oscillators. We have 2 oscillators on Vesek. Let's detune them a bit so we have this beating effect. Let's also use triangle waves, so again it's a bit more mellow, not so harsh. Let's see how this sounds like, and we will add of course a lot of reverb. Oh yeah. Maybe some glide. We have here a fold feature that we can modulate, maybe with a slow LFO. I will use the LLFO, again Bog Audio, change this to slow, take it a frequency even more down. And now here we have the modulation router, which is almost the same like on Lapsus. You have CV input, then you have a button that you can click and assign what you want to modulate. In this case it's the fold. Let's open the attenuator a bit. Oh yeah. Very nice. Change the offset here, we need a unipolar signal. Okay, very nice. So this was Lapsus. Like always, there will be a link in the description to this patch. Feel free to download it and take a closer look. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you enjoy what I do, consider becoming a Patreon. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the bell. And have a good one.